Let's create a regression line using Desmos.com. Step 1. Enter the data points into a table. We go to Desmos.com and click on the Graphing Calculator button. When the main area appears, we hit the plus button and Table, and we see that the table gives us two sides, x sub 1 and y sub 1. And here is where we begin to enter in our data. We have 10 data points that we want to enter for problem number 1. Once you have completed entering these 10 data points, we can take a look at these points on the graph by hitting the Zoom Fit button that has appeared on the bottom bar next to our table. We now see our scatter plot of these 10 data points on the graph side of Desmos. Step 2. Insert the following expression: y sub 1 tilde symbol mx sub 1 plus b. We click on Add Items, Expression, and type in y sub 1 tilde m x sub 1 plus b. Immediately, we see information related to this data set. We see our r² value, and we see the correlation coefficient r here as well. Down below where it says parameters, we see that it has a value for m and a value for b, and those are the two values that we need to create our regression line. Step 3. Write the regression line equation using the values of m and b. To write the regression line, we use the values of m and b. M will go in as a coefficient of x, and b will be the constant term. Rounding the values of m and b to the nearest thousandths, we get the regression line of y equals 81 thousandths, or 0.081 times x, plus 1 and 485 thousandths, or 1.485. How did we create the regression line? To create this regression line, first we had to enter our data points into a table in Desmos.com. After we entered the table, we had to type this expression from step number 2. Then the values of m and b appeared computed by the software, and we used those two values to create our regression line. Let's continue. Step 4. Type in the regression line equation, y equals mx plus b, and then convert to a table. Taking a look at the bottom video, we add an expression to the Desmos input side, y equals mx plus b. At this point, Desmos knows exactly the value of m and b. Desmos is getting those values from the parameter above. To convert this to a table, we press the gear button at the top of the input side and then hit the Convert to Table button. We now have a table that has been created for us by Desmos. Step 5. Replace the x values in Desmos to match r values, and then record the y values, which are on the mx plus b side of our table. Our 5 values are over here in this table: 76, 113, 84, 110, and 101. We now have values that have been computed for these 5 x values by our regression line. When x equals 76, our regression line says 7.6. When x equals 113, our regression line says 10.6. 84, 8.3, 110, 10.4, 101, 9.6. These values have been computed only using our regression line. How do these equation values, these ones down below, compare to the actual data, these values up above? Well, let's take a look. When x equals 76, our data was 7.6, and our equation gave us a value very close to 7.6. There was a little bit of rounding. When x equaled 113, the actual data was 11.3. Our equation model gave us 10.6. It's a slight decrease, but pretty close. When x equals 84, the actual data was 9.1, and our model told us for 84, 8.3. Once again, slightly lower, but pretty close. When x equals 110, the actual data was 11.7, and our model gave us 10.4. Another value that's down below, but pretty close. And last, we have 101. The actual data was 10.1, and in our model, 101 gave us 9.6. A little bit below the actual, but pretty close to the actual value as well. This regression line is the best fit for these 10 data points. You are now ready to create a regression line using Desmos.com for problem number 2.